1, 2, 3, 4. Canada deserves more.
The Canadians are upset. No, not those Canadians. These ones.
What he wants is to see a total collapse of the Canadian economy, because that'll make it easier to annex us.
You just saw Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau bravely standing up for the polite people of Canada against the imperialist bully next door, who apparently wants to annex them and turn Canada into the 51st state of the USA. That would be a horrible thing, wouldn't it? Imagine having your economy destroyed by an outside force, which uses its military and economic heft to interfere in your local affairs, and maybe even change your language and terraform your entire national character, culture, and way of life, transforming your home without your consent into something geared toward its own aspirations, and turning you into a stranger in the land of your own ancestors. Yeah, colonialism isn't fun at all, is it? And you know what else isn't fun? The fact that this growing diplomatic fissure between the US and Canada is only happening because Donald Trump is moving away from world domination toward a more domestic form of imperialism. Until very recently, Canada and the US had no problem whatsoever with each other. Canada has always been very happy to take part in their next-door neighbors' multiple wars of empire and even commit multiple war crimes in the process, just like their neighbor. The Canadian government itself is proud to tell you that the Canadian military has fought with the US military in practically every war it has fought in since 1917. That includes both World Wars, the Cold War, the Balkan War, the Korean War, both adventures in Iraq, the thing in Afghanistan, whatever the hell that was, the destruction of Libya, and of course the multiple expeditions in Africa, including most notably a peacekeeping operation in Somalia caused by the collapse of its erstwhile US client government. During this US-led operation in 1993, the Canadian Airborne Regiment made global headlines for carrying out some of the most horrific war crimes on record in the modern era, including shooting multiple Somalian civilians dead just for the heck of it, and the sadistic torture and murder of a 16-year-old Somalian boy, Shidan Aron, who was suspected of stealing food from their military base. Canadian soldiers brutally beat the teenager for hours, waterboarded him, sodomized him with a broomstick, burned his feet and penis with a lit cigarette, and took trophy photos as he died. Clayton Machi, the soldier said to be most responsible for inflicting this unspeakable torture on a teenager, was reportedly quoted boasting to his colleagues saying, "In Canada we cannot do that, and here they let us do it." As many as 80 Canadian soldiers reportedly witnessed this brutal torture, rape, and murder of a child. But even after these horrible trophy photos became public in Canada and legal proceedings were instituted against the soldiers, only one soldier, Kyle Brown, was ever tried for this crime, and his sentence was just 5 years in prison. He was released after serving 3 years and 4 months. Clayton Machi was ruled medically unfit to stand trial, and basically nothing happened to him. Later it emerged that these Canadian soldiers in Somalia had such deep-seated, disturbingly violent, racist ideals that on at least one occasion they recorded a video of themselves saying, "Things aren't going so well here, we haven't killed enough N-words yet." Some of these Canadian soldiers even flew the Confederate flag from the US Civil War. Remember, these are Canadians. This is not the behavior you'd expect of the military in a proud, sovereign country with no intention of being assimilated into the US. But this goes to the heart of what makes Justin Trudeau's tough guy act so difficult to take seriously. Canada has never tried to be sovereign. Its foreign policy is whatever the US government says it is. Wherever on the planet the US military has gone to wreak havoc, the Canadians have always followed loyally and without question. Was it helping to partition a country on the other side of the world into North Korea and South Korea? The Canadians were there. Was it saber-rattling and escalating tensions in South China Sea? And the clue is in the name, South China. The Canadians were there. Was it bombing in Iraq back to the Stone Age in search of non-existent weapons of mass destruction? The Canadians were there. Was it peacekeeping operations in Africa that resulted in war crimes after initially destabilizing the countries and creating the conditions for war? The Canadians were there, flying US Confederate flags. Was it attacking Africa's wealthiest country and bombing it into the Stone Age for daring to oppose American hegemony? The Canadians were there. Was it goading and preparing Ukraine for the world's most pointless and unwinnable war against Russia as far back as 2015? Of course the Canadians were there. Now the US empire is withdrawing from the world, having overextended itself, and its imperial appetite seems to be shifting toward maple syrup and abut. And now the Canadians are upset. Boo-hoo. Because it turns out that when you help a vicious tiger to bully and dominate the rest of the world, because you gain some benefit by riding on its back, and someone else on the other side of the planet is the one doing the suffering and the dying, chances are that once the tiger's appetite changes, you could end up being the next victim on the menu. And then you'll be down to bravado and bluster like Justin Trudeau.
Well, that's never going to happen. We will never be the 51st state.
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, friend. He's not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, friend. I'm not your friend, guy.